Hello everyone, welcome to Barca News. It is March 3rd, 2025, and Andre Cury, during his interview, made some pretty interesting statements which have definitely added fuel to the fire when it comes to the lawsuit between Deco and Vitor Roque. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and today we're going to be talking about the lawsuit between Deco and Vitor Roque, because Andre Cury, during his interview and while talking about Vitor Roque, did reveal something that could potentially have some implications when it comes to the lawsuit between Roque and Deco. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, Vitor Roque did make some statements in the past where he discussed the signing of Vitor Roque, and when he implied that there was some kind of foul play, let's put it that way, suggesting that maybe there was foul play in the signing of Vitor Roque, because not only was it clear that he was a player that was not Barca level, but stating that maybe Deco had some interest, a known interest, that could have had something at play in the signing of the Brazilian. Now, these are the exact words that Vitor Roque stated about the whole situation. I did cover them in a previous video back in January. But Vitor Roque said, "We had Margiu. There was no fair play, and we signed Vitor Roque. If we saw that he was the new Ronaldinho, we understand him and prioritize talent. But it is evident that he does not have the characteristics to play in Barca. Deco had offered him to the club when he was his representative. Jordi Cruyff and Matteo Alemany said there was no fair play and it was not a priority. The first thing Deco did was sign Vitor Roque as soon as he arrived. What is not normal raises suspicions. Let them come out and explain it. If Barca planned and was transparent, there would be no fuss, like what happened with Barca Studios or the signing of Vitor Roque, since it is not known what interests were behind it." So Vitor Roque saying that something is suspicious here, because Deco offered Vitor Roque to the club. Alemany and Cruyff said no, and the first thing that Deco did when he became a sporting director was sign Vitor Roque, which Vitor Roque says, if Vitor Roque was truly the next Ronaldinho, that would be, maybe normal behavior, because just because you offer him to the club and then you sign him when you become the sporting director doesn't necessarily mean anything bad. Maybe you were just really excited about this young talented player and that's why you did that. But suggesting that since the player wasn't the next Ronaldinho and it was obvious that he wasn't the next Ronaldinho, that maybe Deco did something out of his personal interest by signing this player. Now, of course, this did not sit well with Deco. Deco immediately denied this, stating that he was not the agent of Vitor Roque, that the agent of Vitor Roque is Andre Cury, that he had absolutely nothing to do with the player being offered to Barcelona when Alemany and Cruyff were the sporting directors. And as a result, of course, as I reported in a previous video, Deco decided to file a lawsuit against Vitor Roque for defamatory statements. Now, of course, we're not gonna know what really happened until this lawsuit plays out. In fact, Vitor Roque did make some statements after the lawsuit was announced, stating, that if that's the only way for the truth to come out, then he's more than happy to go through this trial, because, of course, his complaint has always been that Barcelona are not transparent, which I do agree with him 100%. Till this day, we don't have an explanation about what happened with Vitor Roque. How is it that we were promised the next Ronaldinho, and as soon as he arrives, literally as soon as he arrives, 5 minutes later, Xavi realizes he's not good enough. Flick takes some even less time to realize he's not good enough, but yet we were sold that this was the next best thing coming out of Brazil. So where is the explanation? Had Barcelona explained this to us a long time ago, all this could have been avoided. The Vitor Roque statements could have been avoided. The lawsuit by Deco could have been avoided. But anyways, that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is the interview that Andre Cury just did, in which he made some statements that could have some implications on these accusations by Vitor Roque, which, by the way, it doesn't seem like any of the press have picked it up. All the outlets are reporting on the interview, but no one has picked up on what Andre Cury said. Now, I did cover part of the interview in my previous video about what Andre Cury said about Vitor Roque, but I didn't cover the following statements because I wanted to save them for this video. But this is what Andre Cury said about Vitor Roque. Time will prove Deco right with Vitor Roque because he is a great player. The first meeting I had with Jory Cruyff and with Matteo Alemany and with Deco, who were together at the Princesa Sofia. The operation was carried out as normally as always. Barca recovers almost all of money invested. So the first meeting I had was with Jory Cruyff and Matteo Alemany and with Deco. So ladies and gentlemen, Andre Cury stating that Deco was indeed present at that meeting. Even though Deco has said before that he had nothing to do with the player being offered to Barcelona, that he was not the agent of the player, which is true. Deco was not the agent of Vitor Roque. The agent was Andre Cury. But of course, we all know that it's not always that agents that offer the players. A lot of times there are third-party intermediaries who offer a player to the club. If that signing happens, then that third party gets kind of a commission or a cut out of the commission. You know, we've seen that with, for example, Jorge Mendes, who's been offering Rafael Leao. He's not the agent of Rafael Leao. So this does happen in football where third-party intermediaries offer a player, and if the signing happens, they get a cut. So here, Andre Cury confirming that Deco was present at that meeting. And remember, back then, Deco was not the agent of Vitor Roque. He never was, so there was no reason for him to be at the meeting. He was not the sporting director because Alemany and Cruyff were. So what was he doing at that meeting? And why did he tell us that he hadn't been present at that meeting? I think we are owed an explanation, because if he truly did offer the player and then the first thing he did as a sporting director was sign the player, that's a clear conflict of interest, because that implied that the only reason Deco signed him was in order to get his cut. Because again, you bring the player to the club. If the club signs him, you get a cut, but you're the one doing the signing. Now, of course, I'm not accusing Deco of anything. I'm not saying that there's foul play. This could have been just an introductory meeting. I don't know. Maybe Deco, I'm sure Deco has good connections with Cury, and maybe Deco brought Andre Cury and said, hey, Cruyff, Jordi, here, meet up, talk. I don't want nothing to do with this. I'm not getting a cut here. I set up the meeting. You guys figure it out. I don't know. But I think we're owed an explanation, because Vitor Font said, hey, there's something fishy here. Deco says, I was never at that meeting, files a lawsuit, but then we found out he was at the meeting. So we're going to have, again, we need an answer. Not only do we need an answer about what happened with the Roque signing and how wrong we got it and why did we get it so wrong, but now we're going to need an explanation about what's going on. Was Deco there? Was he not there? Why was he there? We're going to need an explanation. Again, I'm not accusing anyone of anything, but this doesn't look good, and I think an explanation could clear these things up. Again, this could be nothing, absolutely nothing. So why not come out, explain it, and just put it to rest? Why have, when you don't explain things, this is what happens, right? Font says something, Deco files a lawsuit, people start making all kinds of assumptions. But if you're transparent about everything you do, then you leave no room for anything else, because if we knew what happened with Roque, Vitor Font wouldn't have made the statements. There would be no lawsuit. I wouldn't be making this video. So this is why it's important to be transparent. But anyways, we'll see whether Barcelona give us an explanation. We'll see if we're going to have to wait for the lawsuit to play out. But definitely interesting words by Andre Cury, that all they do is only add more fire to the more gasoline to the fire, because again, when you don't explain things, when you're not transparent, you open yourself to these kind of things. Anyways, that is all for this video. I did upload another video before this one. I also did the podcast earlier today. If you haven't seen either, make sure to check them out. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, Visca Barça.